meetings. But last week, actually, to me at least, that was quite a break, quite a difference from how he and the rest of the party have been acting. And it wasn't lost on me, or I'm sure you, that he did it at the Federalist Society.
No, it was not. Federalist Society, of course, one of the groups responsible for some of what Republicans would say were Donald Trump's greatest triumphs, naming 3 conservative Supreme Court justices to the bench while in office. And you're right to trace the arc of Pence's career, where, first of all, he was likely going to lose his reelection candidacy for Republican governor of Indiana when Trump picked him to be his VP to shore up his support with more traditional conservatives and evangelicals. And then Pence became the loyalist with the Dear Leader-esque cabinet meetings that he really started praising the president. But there's, of course, been a falling out over January 6th. After Election Day, when it became clear that January 6th was the former president and his team's best efforts to prevent Joe Biden from being elected and taking office, a lot of that plan hinged on Pence, who had been so loyal. They thought he would be again and follow through with what Donald Trump wanted. Pence did not, of course, and his own life was put in jeopardy that day, he and his family. We remember the Hang Mike Pence chants that went up from the crowd. And Pence is now trying to have a delicate balancing act, where he has been firm that, hey, I did the right thing on January 6th, he's saying. I did my constitutional duty. I had no other choice. At the same time, Pence clearly wants to run for president himself in 2024. We'll see if he does, if Trump falls through with his own bid. But right now, he is trying to continue to say he did the right thing, but at the same time, not anger Trump or Trump loyalists too much while doing so. And I think that's what we heard from a lot of other Republicans as well this week. And in the wake of those remarks and in the wake of the legitimate political discourse conversation, where they can say, hey, Pence, we support what Mike Pence did on January 6th, but we still think Donald Trump is the overwhelming favorite in 2024, and he would have our support were he the Republican nominee.
Yeah. So, Tom, let me ask you. I'm curious. You look at a lot of data points. We've been talking about the fact that, now only 60% of Republicans are saying they want Donald Trump to run for re-election. 40% say they don't. I quoted the AP poll that said the majority of Republicans consider themselves Republicans first. Only like 35% consider themselves to be Trump supporters first over being party members. That's a pretty dramatic swing. You look at the fact that Republicans, for some reason, and I say some reason, actually I know why, they're seeing things in the polls. Republicans, even Josh Hawley, are starting to come out criticizing the violence that happened on January the 6th. I'm curious, why do you think we are seeing some movement in the direction of normalcy? I'm not saying that I'm not trying to normalize Donald Trump. I'm not trying to normalize my former party. I'm just curious, do you see any trend lines moving away from the complete lunacy of the Trump years in the Republican Party?
Well, I think you see cross currents. Certainly, a lot of these folks are looking at polls and of the kind you just pointed out and saying, there's room now to say, I don't have to be part of the cult because, as you pointed out, there are people saying I'm a Republican first, I'm a Trumper second. But I also think that there are currents in the other direction. I mean, we're talking about this, as Mika just pointed out, in the shadow of the censure of the last 2 independent Republicans in Congress. That we're talking about this while other Republicans have had to push back against the Republican National Committee trying to whitewash January 6th. The Wall Street Journal's language was interesting. They said that, good for Mike Pence for saying the president pressured him to commit an unconstitutional act. Doesn't that tell us how far and how low the standards in the party have dropped, that over a year later, Mike Pence is kind of getting a golf clap for saying, yes, the president asked me to do something I shouldn't have done, when in an earlier, I think, better time, Republicans would have said, we have to do something about the fact that the de facto leader of the party just is an enemy of the Constitution. And so, I'm happy to say 2 cheers for Mike Pence, but maybe just 1.5 or 2. But I still think that this isn't, this is too late and at least a bit too little.